Welcome to Trading Conversations. I'm your host, Kaytie Iqbbal, and this show is getting interesting by today because our guest today is a business leader who has shaped India's most iconic success stories. Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal, the chairman of Hero Enterprise and a key architect in the growth of Hero Group, the world's largest manufacturers of two-wheelers. He's also a passionate institution builder, co-founder, patron of the Serendipity Art Foundation, an organization redefining the cultural landscape of India, and the co-founder of BML Munjal University, shaping the next generation leaders. He's also served as the president of the CII. He's also an author of the book called The Making of Hero, and he continuously invests in business, innovation, education, healthcare, and arts. So let's understand Mr. Munjal today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so I am Kaytie Iqbbal and I am an aspiring entrepreneur living in India. I'm from the Caribbean Islands and,
You're a long way from home.
I know. So I'm also, a new entrepreneur actually.
All right.
And I want to know your stories, everything. I promise I won't bore you. So we'll start with the your early days and how any fond memories or moments that have shaped you.
So, growing up in our home, conversations very often were about business because we had two twin homes. My dad and my uncle's home had no wall in between. So, we were kind of in and out of both the homes. And they were two of the founders of the Hero Group. They, along with their other brothers and the family, so they came literally with nothing except the shirts on their backs.
Oh, wow.
And like millions of others, they actually started their lives afresh after moving around to a few places and settling down in Ludhiana. And Ludhiana had a bit of a culture of bicycle parts at that time.
Yeah.
And that's a business some of them knew already. Because my dad and a couple of his brothers had trained in the British Ordnance Factory. We used to train people on guns and bicycles for some reasons, and reminds me of Guns N' Roses. And they had also done some trading. One of the brothers had done trading in Amritsar in bicycle parts. So that seemed like an obvious thing for them to do, but it was a tough life. So you could see everything was done from a point of great care, great frugality, and concern. And one of the things I learned early on was that relationships compound much quicker than money. So they had a wonderful set of operating systems or principles. I guess to them it was second nature. But as we grew, we documented some of those as principles for the company and turned that into an operating philosophy over a period of time.
Okay. And this philosophy of the Hero Group, of course.
So this was about building relationships, understanding that people are your biggest asset,
Yeah.
trying to be fair all the time to all concerned, concern for the environment. And this is going back, by the way, many decades.
Many decades, yeah.
So it's not of current origin. And also to watch the little things. So current assets were considered more important than anything else. And I guess partially coming from lack of resources. But that stayed with the organization. That built a big strength. It created a system of JIT, which we were running without knowing it is called JIT.
Okay.
So long before the term got coined, actually.
Okay.
And so these are the things which kind of stayed and they became our big business mantra.
That's amazing. And who had most influence on your life when you were growing up as a child?
So I would think my parents had a very big influence. My father was always a young thinker.
Okay.
Even at a very advanced age, he was always open to new ideas, new technologies. He was in the group while he was not the oldest amongst the brothers. He was the chairman because he would go out and bring new ideas, new collaborations, new technologies. And I worked closely with him. So that kind of became my style of functioning as well. And my mother was another great balancing force in the entire system. looking after the family, because my father used to travel a lot.
Yeah.
And she would ensure that nobody was wanting for anything, that everyone and everything was cared for, looked after. And between them, I think it was a wonderful combination to understand what life really is
Yeah.
and how life should be lived. Of course, there have been many others in business and public life,
Yeah.
but I would say they were the two strongest influences. Over a period of time, my wife, who I sadly lost last year,
Yeah.
was a great influence because she was extremely fond of culture, of literature, of visiting public parks. So uh, I've always had some interest, but my interest certainly grew with her in theater and music and in literature and so I guess the closest to home influences have been these, and now I find and I learned some of these for my daughter and my grandchildren. Actually, it's interesting how you can continue to learn if your own mind is open.
Yes, so I think that is amazing. You need to have an open mind, and there's so much one can do,
Yep.
And how old were you when you began working with your dad?
Um, I guess the influence started quite early because when we used to come back from school during holidays, I left Ludhiana quite early. I was there only till class 3.
Okay.
And when we would come back during holidays, as I said, the conversation around the dining table was quite often about work and
Work.
what's going on, and about little issues that happened that day. But one of the fun things to do during the holidays was to go and visit the factories.
Mm-hmm.
And so while it was not real work, but almost by osmosis, one started to absorb what was going on. And when we did start, our system at that time was you have to start at the bottom. You have to learn every part of the business, and you have to work with one of the elders who's not necessarily your dad. So it could be an uncle or a cousin or one of the others. And that, I think, was a very good system because I got to work on the shop floor in Highway Cycles. That was our company that made freewheels and machine tools. I got for a while to work in Rockman when they were building a new factory, a little bit in Majestic Auto, then in Hero Cycles, in various departments, including in commercial department and in accounts. Because before that, I'd worked in some of the factory floors.
Oh, okay.
And so the age is quite diffused. It was not one day that I started work.
Okay.
So it kind of evolved over a period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was your favorite department at that time?
I'm not sure there was one favorite, but I do have a few stories that stick in my mind. While training at Hero Cycles, we had this very elderly gentleman who was the head of accounts.
Okay.
In fact, he was one of the people who started early on with my father and my uncles. There were actually 4 brothers together who started the business. And because they were starting with nothing, so they had only 1 or 2 people working with them. One of them was the gentleman, he was called Bhagatji.
Okay.
So very traditional, would come to work in a kurta pajama. He used to carry 2 pens in his pocket.
Yeah.
And had 2 pads in his hand. I've actually related this story a few times.
Yes.
But I cannot tell you enough about the influence of what it does on what I consider modern governance today. And when I asked him why does he carry 2 of them, he would say, this is the company's pen for company work, and this is my own. When I have anything else, anything to note that's my own work, not the company's work, I will use my pad, which I brought from my own home, and my own pen. So he would not even use the company's ink to do his personal work. So the extent that you can go to create a fair way of working was some of the things I learned early on from some of these people who I trained with, who I interned with, and I worked with in this period. The other early one, of course, was the opportunity I got to set up a new business.
Yes.
That was called Hero Fibers.
Okay.
That was the first time the group had diversified. the first time we went into textiles, the first time we borrowed and took money from the All India financial institutions.
Okay.
It was also the first IPO we'd done in the group. So I was asked to lead that business, and that was a phenomenal amount of learning.
Okay.
And eventually we sold that business.
Sorry,
But
just to cut you on that. How old were you then?
Good question. I think that was 19, sometime in the very early 80s, late 70s, early 80s we started. So
Okay.
I would have been, I was born in 57, so you can do the maths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so it was interesting because there was no existing example of any of that stuff. So we started off a new business with our own principles.
Okay.
So this is a company we subsequently sold. But interestingly, we made a fair profit on the sale itself of the business. But we decided not to continue, not because we could not run the business, because we did not want to operate in that system.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was a sensible decision to make at that point in time. Tough one, because my father and my uncle finally asked me, because I was the MD of that company and running the business day to day, what was my decision finally. And I said, I'm okay for us to sell the business. And that was long before selling a business became acceptable in the country. At that point, every business was attached to your ego. And it was considered a difficult, if not a downright not done thing in those days.
And you mentioned also about the the power not getting help for the power company. Where was this set up?
This was set up in Malerkotla in Punjab.
Okay, in Punjab.
Outside of Ludhiana. Yeah.
Okay.
Ludhiana used to be our base in those days. That's where Hero Cycles started. And then so did many of the other bicycle component companies and then the moped company. We only went out when we started first the second bicycle company in Saibabad, and then what was then called Hero Honda in Daruheda as the first plant. And then since then, of course, many of the companies were set up across many different parts of the world.
Yeah, of course. And this was many years ago.
This was many years
So
ago.
I will cut to the new India and how these little issues that you faced then are handling today. Is it the same or different? But we'll come on that a bit later.
Yep.
You've often said that intuition matters as much as data.
Yep.
Can you recall a high-stakes decision where intuition changed the outcome?
Multiple times, I think. We had a joint venture, not a joint venture, I'm sorry. We had a company that we owned and ran in the UK and Scotland called Hero TSC.
Okay.
This was a BPO company. And in short order, it had become one of the fastest growing companies in the business.
Okay.
And we became the largest employer in Scotland. We also became the most profitable company in Europe. But we found that our business was actually found attractive by our customers, particularly Vodafone UK. They wanted to share the model with the entire Vodafone global system. And we were, of course, serving clients like HSBC, IBM, many blue chip clients at that time. And it was counterintuitive to set up a call center and a BPO company in the UK rather than in India, by an Indian company specifically. And we were told that next time around, Vodafone would want to set up the system for their global system. Therefore, the company that bids would have to be much larger size than we were. So we had a choice to either go and acquire a company and become larger, or to sell the company.
Okay.
And we chose to sell it. And that was more instinct than any spreadsheet would actually tell you, because it was a wonderfully well-growing, profitable business. And we had another occasion when we had a joint venture with Daimler to make trucks and buses in India.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what is now called Bharat Benz was originally supposed to be Hero Benz.
Okay.
Yeah, and That's a joint venture we decided to step out of
Okay.
even before production started, because we could see the aspirations or the approach to business of both sides was quite different.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I shouldn't say aspiration was the same,
Mm-hmm.
but the approach was quite different.
Yeah.
And the comparison was very often made by the team with their own existing operation in Stuttgart and other places, whereas we were saying repeatedly, look at the competition in India.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of competition that you will come up against, not just in India, but across the entire developing world.
Yeah.
And we then decided that it would not be fair for us to stay on. While it
Mm-hmm.
was a very attractive business, after setting up a joint venture with Honda and turning that into a world leader,
Mm-hmm.
this could have been another opportunity for us
Mm-hmm.
to build a globally leading business
Yeah.
in a completely different set of verticals. But we decided to walk away from that. And I'm not sorry we did. Again, that was a company I was chairing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very difficult decision for me personally to make, to
Mm-hmm.
walk away from that unique opportunity.
Yeah.
But I've never been sorry that we walked away, and we do this while remaining friends. In all the relationships that we built, all the partnerships that we built, one thing has been consistent, that we did them reasonably quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and if we disengaged, we did it in a manner that we still retained a relationship with our partners.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's a really nice insight you gave. Thank you very much for that. And then yeah, in your interviews, obviously you've mentioned that when you did suggest to kind of separate the companies, you did a lot of studying, a lot of thinking, and evaluating. So would you like to share those details? What is it that you noticed that okay, we this is for the benefit. These are the things.
So first, the subject of family-owned business is something I've studied and lectured on across the globe for more than 3 decades now.
Okay.
So it was not only our own business, but what I could see in our business was we were we would most businesses tend to go in a a certain direction, that about, and this is all studied and researched data, that 94% of family-owned businesses destroy themselves by the third generation. And this is sad, but it's a reality.
It is. Yeah.
And we had 20 of us from the family in the business at that time, including the third generation having started and being part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So one could see that the aspiration of many of the members of the family were differing from the roles they had. Uh, the environment of business in India was changing. The aspirations of customers were shifting and changing. So I thought it would be wonderful to find a way to retain the relationships of the family
Mm-hmm.
and also give continuity to the business and much more entrepreneurial opportunity to many members of future generations, including the third generation, which was just starting off
Mm-hmm.
of the family.
Okay.
And so we actually looked at individuals in the family to see what their interests, passions, and
Yeah.
aspirations were,
Mm-hmm.
to see if they could get accommodated within the current system,
Mm-hmm.
or they would require for them to make their own choices. And we found that that would make more sense. And that's why I had suggested this to my father and my uncles.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when I did, they both got very, very annoyed with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said, people give examples of our family,
Yeah.
how the family is so close, lives next to each other. The companies are doing so exceedingly well. So my response was exactly, who does any restructuring at this time?
Mm-hmm.
It normally happens when a family members have fights amongst
Yeah.
themselves, and those can turn very ugly, or when the businesses are going down the tube.
Mm-hmm.
And those are normally the two triggers for
Mm-hmm.
restructuring family ownership.
Mm-hmm.
It's only those who understand that there is more to this, and you need to be able to create businesses which will go on generation after generation after generation, where the distinction of ownership and management is very essential. And those are the families which have created institutions, not just companies.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. No, I'm a believer of that. It's a teamwork,
Yep,
and everybody has a role.
absolutely.
And there is, you know, as per your interests, you fit in somewhere, and in that system, it's really important to build that ecosystem.
And I'm glad we did, because today, if I look around, the number of companies, number of large successful companies as a sum total of the whole is much more what we had together as what was just one common hero group at that time. So on hindsight, it was the right thing to do. And of course, we have more future generations that have come in and are holding up the flag now.
But that was very brave of you to, suggest and, look very, but just out of curiosity, I'd like to ask, was it anywhere inside some insecurity, some foresight that you had that,
So I'm not sure it was insecurity or foresight. It was just looking out at what has happened to others. And we might like to think we're unique, but family-owned businesses are the norm, not just in India, but across the globe. I don't want to give you numbers because you're an expert yourself, that family-owned businesses are the ones which create the largest amount of wealth in the world, the largest number of jobs in the world, the largest number of tax collected across the globe. So the phenomena is not new. And so what has happened to these is also not new. And which is why these studies have been done, which shows what happened with the first generation of founders, what happens to the second generation, who are the inheritors, and what happens to the third generation, which normally grows up as wealthy kids. And their upbringing is quite different. And therefore, their approach and attitude to life changes. And that is why it is necessary to, I felt, for us to do a little bit of a shake-up of our system. And as I said, it has worked out wonderfully well.
No, this is something very admirable. Like, it's very brave, and thank you for sharing that. We're going to speak about a little bit of company markets, investing. If an investor wants to truly understand a mobility or manufacturing business, what are the 3 metrics that matters the most?
So we are an active investor, as you may be aware. So one of the things we do. So when we look at investing, we never look at a spreadsheet or a business plan first. That literally is the last thing we would look at. Our investments are behind people. So we first look at the founders or the promoters of a company. We look at their attitude, their governance systems, the processes they follow, their ethics, their integrity, how they behave with other people, especially under pressure. And because that tells you about something about how the company will behave, because company is nothing but people. It's an organization set up with people. And we then look at how passionate they are about the product or service that they offer. And then whether the product or service has a felt need in the marketplace, or does it meet a need which is not yet felt? And then we look at whether it has an outsized societal benefit. Only if it ticks all of these do we, and then look at the business plan and then see how good or not that business could be. So our attempt is to use business as a force for good, because it can be. It is a very powerful instrument. It has the kind of reach, kind of approach, kind of access, which very few other activities do. So it may be unconventional, but I think it's a sensible way to combine social good and the good for the planet by running good companies.
Thank you.
So it's not a direct answer to your question.
No,
but that's the way we approach this.
No. I've spoken to many investors. They look at people, their behavior, how they speak to people, the culture, how passionate they are about what they're building, and that is very important.
Yes.
And then they come on to the business plan.
But we also look at people who know how to work with other people.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have brilliant founders who have a great idea, but they cannot scale because they cannot work with other people. They've never learned to work with people. And also those who know how to turn around on a coin, because the environment changes. The reality of life is things will change. That's the one thing you can be certain of. And that's the only constant in our lives. So people who know how to adapt are almost always more successful than otherwise.
Absolutely. And what is the biggest mistake markets make when valuing Indian manufacturing companies?
So again, as I said, the markets tend to look at the only the balance sheet, what's going on at that point in time
Okay.
in the business, without often going down to the depth of the real potential.
Mm.
That's the only negative, I would say. Otherwise, what happens if you're talking of stock markets? Stock markets tend to value performance always over a period of time. It will always catch up.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much of a mismatch there is today, but in a period of time, the valuation and the performance will tend to level off.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to BML Munjal University. Would you like to speak about that?
Sure. So one of the things we have done as a family is to realize that we have been very fortunate and blessed as a family, which, as I said, in my dad's generation came as refugees, but in one generation managed to build businesses at a world scale, which employed and worked with literally millions of people.
Yeah.
So we feel we have a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for. So one is to get up every morning and thank the Almighty for giving us this unique opportunity. And in addition to that, I think it's also important to go out and do something,
Yes.
because not everybody in the world has the kind of access that we got.
Yeah.
And whatever the reason was, whatever happened, that's a separate set of issues. But we have been quite fortunate, I would say. And even if you look at where the world lies today,
Yeah.
there is a large section of the population which does not have access to opportunities.
Yes.
So wherever we set up a business, we try and set up one of our family foundation projects.
Okay.
And those are in the areas of education, healthcare, clean drinking water, gender issues, rural development, skilling. And the big one that we are now focused on is arts and culture.
Yes.
So the university came up out of that initiative itself. We do run large number of schools. We have about 30,000 kids studying in our high schools right now. We have multiple skilling institutions. The university was an attempt to create a holistic higher education system, because in India, too much of our education was fixed only on rote learning. The kids who know how to cram the best will get the highest score in high schools, and that is not testing intelligence. You're not even testing how smart that kid is. So we said we should create a system that focuses on lateral thinking, leadership qualities, and learning abilities. And we should sharpen and hone those. But we would do that in an environment where we made 5 of the electives compulsory. The setup is like an American liberal arts university.
Okay.
So there's lots of options, lots of choices, and you can make them even while you're at the university. Unlike the rigid system that has been followed in India until now. I have to say our new education policy is phenomenal, by the way. That allows this flexibility. But ours started 11 years ago, so we had put all of this in early. So our compulsory electives are ethics and moral dilemma,
Okay.
design thinking,
Okay.
cross-discipline. So even if you want to be an engineer, you have to earn a credit in liberal arts.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, soft skills, and these are compulsory for everybody. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter which school in the university you go to.
Yeah.
We have 5 schools right now, and every 3 to 4 years we add another one. So the university is named after my father, and we wanted to distill his life learnings and philosophy into the education curriculum. So we made it very, he learned on the University of Life. He never went to college and university. So we created the most experiential curriculum in the world.
Okay.
And we didn't know it was the most experiential curriculum in the world. We were told by a team that came from MIT
Oh wow.
that
Okay.
what we had done was more than 2 times what they were doing in terms of experiential learning.
Wow. Okay.
And that was both delightful and a little bit of a confirmation of what we had set out to do. We've also tried to create an entrepreneurial attitude.
Okay.
So we built this as an entrepreneurial university, so that not only do we train people in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
but the system itself is entrepreneurial. So
Hmm.
everybody in the campus is encouraged to be independent thinkers.
Yes.
We encourage that, but always with an underlying philosophy of good values. We believe that we can, and we are a nursery for future leaders, but leaders will have left brain, right brain functioning.
That's amazing.
Yep.
You're basically, teaching them to be more instinctive,
As
with
well.
all that whole, yeah.
Not only.
Not
but
only.
yes.
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 Amazing. Okay, so coming on to Serendipity Arts Festival. Why was building a cultural movement so important to you? Well, you did mention that, of course, it was inspired mostly from your wife, your late wife. And, but yes, you can tell us about it and how,
Actually, the name itself came from her. She used to have a bookstore in Claridge's Hotel called Serendipity Books, etc.
Amazing.
And the bookstore had to shut down because the hotel went into renovation. So you can't keep a store in a closed hotel. But we had retained the name. When we started the festival, I asked her, would she mind if we use this name? She's saying, of course, it's absolutely fine. And we originally, so we had set up an arts foundation first in Ludhiana, long before the one in Delhi, by the way. I set up Ludhiana Sanskritik Samagam in 1999. And it is even today one of the most regularly functioning, active performing arts foundation in this country.
Okay.
And we had a show only a few weeks ago, and I just got invited to one on the 6th of February in Ludhiana. And then when we moved to Delhi, many of our friends would ask us, why don't you do some stuff here? You do these fantastic programs in Ludhiana.
Yeah.
And I would say that, Delhi is a big city like any metro city. You have all kinds of stuff. But when I looked around, I found there was something seriously missing, actually. And so we set up Serendipity Arts Foundation. And quite quickly, from giving grants, offering internship, it expanded to set up the first festival in Goa. 2014, we had set up the foundation. 2016, we set up the first festival, because my belief was that to make a real impact, scale is essential.
Okay.
Especially in a country like ours.
Yes.
So we started the festival with scale.
Okay.
I was warned by many that in India, especially in the arts, you must start small, do this gradually.
Yeah.
And they said you should do two projects. I said, okay, thank you very much. And we started with 52 projects.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my belief is scale is magical.
It is.
Scale allows you to do things you cannot otherwise do.
Yes.
And that's as true of business as it is for a non-business.
Yes.
So we treat our non-profits exactly the same way as we treat our businesses, which is high quality governance, good processes, and high quality talent. So all of these put together, and if you know what you're looking for, then you can actually get there. You can do it quicker than you would otherwise.
Yes.
You can make a larger impact.
Yes.
So we make sure that the impact we are looking for is, in a sense, defined before we start. And it's always bigger than the current resources that we have. So we have to grow into it. So growth is not even a discussion. It is an essential requirement in our system.
You're just going to launch with massive, teams and establishments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is it somewhere also marketing? Do you think that, okay, if you're going to, launch with such a big setup, people would know about you? Is that also?
So I've never consciously thought about that. But when you have scale, obviously you get exposure.
Yes.
It is a natural thing. But our attempt was to first focus on the arts, the artists, the artisans, the craftswomen and craftsmen, to see how you can bring them to the fore.
Yeah.
Sadly, arts have become too exclusive, rights and domain of a few. So we were trying to democratize access, so open it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Second was to remove the partitions that have taken place and got built into the arts. So the partition between theater, music, dance, and crafts, we wanted to remove all of these.
Okay.
And of course, we work on culinary arts as much as we work on visual or performing arts. We're also one of the world's significant supporters of performance arts as distinct from performing arts.
Okay.
The other partition we wanted to remove or what came to be known high art and low art, because all of it is art. And I cannot imagine somebody who does not have access will also not have aspiration or desire or an artistic sense inside them, because that's something that we are all born with.
Yeah.
You can hone it, you can sharpen it through exposure, but art is something that speaks to the soul.
Yes.
And I think it can create the kind of change you want in a much more meaningful manner, in a much quicker time frame, and do it in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
And that has been our attempt, is also to try and see if we can help make this a sustainable livelihood
Okay.
for millions of those who currently do not either have work or their families were involved in the crafts which are no longer desirable because the consumer taste has changed, but the products being made are the same. So Serendipity Arts has taken these on as multiple responsibilities, but the festival, which has now become certainly, I would imagine, the largest in Asia and one of the largest in the world in 10 years' time, also has a lot of subliminal messaging on good behavior, like motherhood statements, on
Yeah.
compassion, on kindness, on relationships, on families
Yes.
and partings and civic responsibility and sustainability. So we give a lot of these messages while building relationships and partnerships from across the globe, not just in India.
Yeah.
So on the recently concluded festival in this last December, this was our 10th year, we had, I don't remember the exact number, but well over 70 of some of the significant arts and culture institutions from around the world came to attend.
Oh, wow.
We had visitors from 70 plus countries.
Okay.
We had a daily footfall of over 100,000.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we had over 5,000 artists physically present. So we showed the Caravaggio for the first time outside of a museum setting.
Yeah.
At the same time, we were showing the local crafts and the local arts and the
Yes.
street foods. So our belief is all of this can and must coexist.
Must. Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And you also launched a new book. Would you like to tell us about that?
Well, actually, it's the third one I've launched, but
Right.
yes. So our first book was actually All the World's a Stage. That is on the LSS, the Ludhiana Sanskritik Samagam, and it's series of performances that we had done there.
Okay.
The second one was called The Making of Hero,
Yes.
which was actually the story that you were asking me about, the background
The whole, yes.
how the family and how the business got set up and how things were going on in the business environment and the political environment. And the third one is called Table for Four, Delhi's Dining Legacy. I've written it to other friends of mine, Nitin Kapoor and Ajay Shriram. Actually, it's about four of us, not just the three of us.
Okay.
Deepak Nirula was the fourth one who we lost a few years ago. So we dedicated the book to Deepak. Four of us friends are former presidents of the Doon School Old Boys Society.
Okay.
That was our common link and the binding force, which it's the glue which holds us together. Four of us have been going out to lunch at a different restaurant every 6 or 8 weeks for the last 16 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And each time we go to a restaurant, we write a review on the dishes, on the service, on what the place looks like, even what the loo is like in the restaurant. And that ratings had actually been accumulated over a period of time. So when we crossed 50, we thought it'd be a good idea to do a book. And we thought we'd do a book for some of our DOSCO friends and just distribute it to them. But we didn't actually get down to it. We were either lazy or busy doing other stuff. And then when we got to 60 lunches, then we actually assigned somebody. That guy was busy. And I'm really delighted that he didn't do it at that time.
Yeah.
Now we chose to do it ourselves.
Okay.
And so three of us are co-authors on this book. And this book just got published and released in December, actually during the festival itself. And I came back from a UK trip only 10 days ago, and I was told by the publisher and the distributor, and they've run out of copies. So it's going into a second print now. So this book looks at not just those restaurants we went to, But we also started conversations with the top chefs in Delhi, the top restaurateurs, their motivations, why they do what they do, kind of the conversation you are having with me right now.
Yes, indeed.
We had those with many of them.
Okay.
And we also picked some of the Delhi specialties and went back into their history. So it's a true anthology of eating out in Delhi. It's also got a little bit of a historical
Mm.
perspective
Mm.
to it.
Yeah.
And when we asked Veer Sanghvi to write the foreword,
Okay.
he mentioned that this has never actually been done for Delhi before.
Okay.
So it turned out, it was not originally designed to be what it has turned out to be. So it is getting an interesting response. Only day before yesterday, I was in Jaipur, and Veer Sanghvi did a fireside chat with me on the book, and we
Yeah.
had a full house in the audience. So the idea is to not go through life blindly, to
Yeah.
appreciate little things around us, and there are just so many things to appreciate around us.
And it's amazing how you can just go into the history of it and then you put it out there, because there's a lot of when it comes to food, and especially the Mughal. I'm not sure if you're a non-vegetarian or a vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian,
Okay,
but
fine.
all the other three were
They are.
non-vegetarians. Actually, one of them turned vegetarian, so it became two vegetarians and two non-vegetarians.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see. So
yeah.
just to, when it comes to Mughlai food, it has a lot of history.
Oh, of course.
Punjabi food
Yep,
has a lot of history.
yep.
Bengali, all the cuisines.
And,
So
and by the way, we've written about some of that
oh, that is
in the book. Yeah.
amazing. And
Yep.
and so which is your favorite Indian cuisine?
So I avoided answering questions because it kind of sends
Oh,
direct
okay. It
people into the book. So I would rather people
okay,
read the
that's
book for
fine.
themselves
That's fine.
and
That's fine.
figure
That's
out.
fine.
But I enjoy food. So as it
Yes.
happened, each one of us turned out to be a foodie. Some of us were closet foodies, but Deepak Nirula, of course, was a legendary
Okay.
restaurateur. He's the one who brought the concept of modern eating out in India. He's the one who brought pizzas and hamburgers to India for the first time.
That's
The 21
amazing.
flavors of ice cream, and then he turned that same concept on Indian food.
Okay.
So he was a true revolutionary.
Yeah.
And
My family
yeah.
also, we were, into the food business. We had a catering company, and it was more like a very Indo-Caribbean. So
Right.
it was, with all the,
Yep.
I don't know if you've had Caribbean Indian food, but the spices are very different. The shadi
Right.
pani and
Yep.
so
Absolutely.
it's Indian, but it's
Yep.
Caribbean.
And food is important to us as people, because as a culture, there is no Indian festival which is not linked to a particular kind of food.
Mm-hmm.
It is halwa at a Havan, it is savaiya at Eid,
Yeah.
it is distributing chanas when a child starts walking or as the first tooth. So it's an integral part of our lives. So I think it's important for us to celebrate food as much as it is to have a healthy diet and
Indeed.
Yep.
Great. Okay, so just a few questions on India's growth, and we spoke earlier about policies in those times when you couldn't get the power supply for your setup. But what do you think? You know, uh, where's India at right now, and where's India going in the next, or where do you see it in the next 5-10 years?
So we have come a long way, and the big shift. So interestingly, if you look at India since independence,
Yeah.
every 10 years India has moved forward. This even before the big shift in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
It was not always consistent because we had these ups and downs. Our basic problem stems from an inheritance that we have.
Okay.
Our entire set of rules, regulations, and laws were designed by the British, which was a small community trying to run a large country where the population was against them. So all of them are based on mistrust. We inherited those and continued those. And the same bureaucracy, the same bureaucratic system, many of the same laws were applicable, are even today applicable.
Yes.
So one of the big shifts that happened in 1991 was to try and open up the administrative reform, the financial system, etc. But we did not do enough because Indians, by very nature, genetically are entrepreneurial. You can look at history. and not just of 10 or 20 years. You can look at history of millennia
Mm-hmm.
and how India has, as Indians have performed across the globe. And it's of recent recorded history.
Yes.
At the end of the Mughal period, why the British came in here was because India had 23% of the world economy and 26% of world trade. So we were not a bit player. We have been a significant player. So that bit is genetic. So I think what has held us back is our own regulatory framework, the rules and laws that we created of mistrust and which held everything back.
Yeah.
And we have come a long way from where we were when everything was licensed. You had to take permission for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we have still not done enough. Over the last 10 years, the government has done a phenomenal job in removing over 1,000 old laws, by the way.
Mm.
But I think if we totally open up and we turn this on its head, what we ought to do is have very few negative lists. You cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, but everything else is open to you.
Okay.
That's fine. You have to give declarations of this, this, and this is the form in which you have to do this. And I think it would make life so much easier if you open up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because Indians are, as I said, entrepreneurial, and they have become globally competitive in just so many different ways. Both India and Indians have done
Yes.
exceedingly well in multiple areas. But what is holding us back at this moment is that our infrastructure, our scale has not yet caught up with our own size and scale and diversity. We are unusual. We are unlike any country on the planet. We're even unlike any continent on the planet. We are still civilizational. You have Indians living in the 22nd century and the 16th century at the same time. So we need to figure out a way for all of India to grow. And which is why it is important that we focus very quickly, very sharply on the 900 million people who are not able to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we need to do maximum amount of work. And I can see the government focusing on that, uh, even offering things like free food grain to 800 plus million,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, is not a favor. It's being given because it is required. Now, we are so fortunate that we have the ability to say yes and no to things, but
Yeah.
not everybody does.
Yeah.
So that is where we need to work. The other thing is increase the speed of what we are doing by way of infrastructure, building more highways, building more airports, building more ports. Our waterways, we had started a program a decade ago, but not much has happened.
Mm.
We need to do that much more rapidly than we are doing
Yes.
it currently. Urban infrastructure is an industry of its own. We need to focus on that and build that because we have a constant flood of migration taking place from rural to urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, current situation is not sustainable. You have close to 68% of India living in rural areas. About 54% depends on agriculture as a primary source of income. And agriculture is offering less and less to the overall GDP. So this has to change. That
Yes,
causes
has to change.
poverty. So we have to shift that. You cannot have people living in the condition that they're not able to earn, 100 rupees a day or
Mm-hmm.
50 rupees a day. It's not even fair in today's life. So we have to open up. So I believe one of the things we can do, other than policy work and building infrastructure, because it is about opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
is bring our artisans. We have millions and millions of artisans, most of them in the rural areas, who still have the skills they had 400 or 500 years ago, but they are also making the same products they were making that time. So if we help them contemporize their product with the same skills, I think we have the ability to create over 100 or 150 million new sustainable economic opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we can need to blow the top of the Indian global business, make it as global as possible. And we have capabilities on the top end we've already demonstrated in our tech businesses, in auto components, automotive businesses, pharmaceutical businesses, our chemicals businesses. So we have the ability that we need to take care of the ones at the bottom to ensure that those which have a high multiplier are promoted.
Yeah.
So house building, for example, you have
Yes.
154 industries connected to residential construction.
Yes.
And real estate is not even considered an industry in India, which from my point of view, is sad.
Yeah.
So it employs the largest number of semi-skilled and unskilled workers in the country. It is a social good. It not only should be considered an industry, it should be a preferential industry. It should get preferential treatment from banks and from Reserve Bank and from policymakers. With RERA having come in, I think it's fantastic that you have a governance framework that works. Now we have to figure out way to promote this. Healthcare. You have to provide healthcare for all Indians. And by the way, healthcare is another great employer as well.
It is. It is.
So
yes.
I'm going into too much detail,
Yeah.
so I'll stop here.
No, but
So-
it's amazing because you've advised governments. What everything that you've said, point wise, industry wise, sector wise. You've really evaluated and shared in detail, which is amazing. Thank you for
The
that.
only other thing I would add, one moment, is that we
Please.
have to watch out for technology.
Yes.
This advent of new technology is both a threat and an enormous opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to
okay.
harness this for ourselves. AI is a tool which can go completely haywire if there are no guardrails put on it. But if we learn to use it for ourselves, it can dramatically improve efficiency, productivity, and reach of what we can offer.
Yes.
Public services can improve dramatically.
Yes.
So I think we have to keep all of this in balance as we move forward.
Great. I mean, I'm really happy my audience will get to learn a lot today from you and look into all these details. One word of advice that you would like to give to the audience before we move on to the fun round, which will be our final section of our conversation today.
So the one thing I said, which we try and focus on ourselves as a business and as a family, is look at people as your single most important asset. We all talk of doing charity. How often do we look at people who work with us, our domestics, people who clean our homes? How many of their children have we helped to get education, to get opportunities, to get high quality jobs? So we need to start doing things, not just talking about them. We have this unique opportunity offered to us. We all have one small life. So let's go on and make something meaningful of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is called the Rapid Fire Training Blitz. And it's just, 14, 15 questions and one liner each. So, or you can just be yourself. It's fine. It's not just one line. So you're ready?
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to break the ice from the
Sure.
serious conversation that we had today.
Yep.
A habit that made the biggest difference in your life.
Is focus on governance.
Okay. A book that influenced your thinking the most.
I have to think about this one.
There's somebody that has.
Actually, it's a staid one. It was Gandhiji's biography. The ability to think micro detail and the big picture together at one time is unique in his autobiography.
Okay. That's unique. One leadership trait you value above all else.
Integrity.
Amazing. The best advice you received too late.
Is that you need to look at all aspects of a potential partnership before jumping into a partnership.
Absolutely, I agree on that one. Very much. One business buzzword you dislike.
Excessive focus in today's world on showing up things.
Okay.
Whether through social media or through balance sheets or through public markets or through investment bankers.
Okay. One skill India needs to build urgently.
The very word you used, skills.
Skills. Okay. Okay. A
We
personal.
have one of the lowest percentage of formally skilled people in the world.
Hmm.
And that's a crying need, because when you want to grow, in any sector, you also have to make sure that you're producing good quality both of goods and services,
Hmm. I agree. A personal rule.
and and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
sustainability.
I'm so sorry. Please.
And sustainability.
And sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to elaborate more on that?
Yeah. So we need to be on sustainability of two types. One is be consistent. When you're doing something, make sure you're doing it well every single time.
Okay.
Sustain that. Second is sustainability of the ecosystem.
Okay.
We have abused our environment too much for too long. And you cannot have cities with air quality index going up to 300,
Oh
400,
yeah.
500, and 600. It is unhealthy above 50. So, and no one except us people can actually change that.
Yes.
If you keep going the way we are going, it will be unlivable. Our cities will be difficult places to live. We'll have to find caves, and we'll have to find Mars, as Elon Musk has been pushing us. So until we get that planet, we have only one planet.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad you're talking about environment. It is very, 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 very important
Yep.
that people get serious now and take it seriously and do something about
Yep.
it.
I've
Thank
actually
you.
just written an article on this, which you'll read next week.
Okay.
So but that's only about Delhi.
Okay.
It holds true for any part of the world, though. Yeah.
Looking forward. A personal rule you live by on tough days.
So whenever I have a difficult choice to make, I, in my head, said, what would my dad think if he knew I was doing this?
Hmm.
And if it says he'd be fine with it, I just go ahead. So this is something I actually talk to all our people, that we want our executives to be independent thinking, because we have so many senior people in our organization. And what we tell them is that we want you to go out and make new mistakes this year. You have to constantly experiment, try new things, but never repeat a mistake. When you're in a quandary, when you have a fix, you don't know what to do, put your hand on your heart. And if it seems to be the right thing to do, go ahead and do it, and we will support you and back you. So
Very
that's the
nice.
best test for yourself.
Thank you. Mistakes is what you learn from, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And uh, as most of us, our best learnings actually do come from our mistakes.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
On that note, though, one mistake that you that taught you the most.
Well, I already mentioned our entry into the yarn spinning business. That, on hindsight, was a mistake for someone like us to get into.
get in.
But there was just so much learning in there. It's phenomenal. I don't look at it as a negative experience.
Okay.
I see it as a positive, but it was a mistake.
Okay.
Hmm.
Speed or stability?
Stability without giving up speed.
Okay. One value every young leader must never compromise.
Yourself.
Okay. If not business, what would you be doing?
Probably a doctor.
Ah, I was
Oh.
I was gonna say scientist.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leadership in one word.
Stewardship.
Okay.
Be what you say. Don't just say, do things.
A song or a piece
And
of.
be responsible.
Okay.
That trusteeship is leadership.
Okay.
Because you have the responsibility to many, whether they are employees, family members, investors. So you need to behave like a trustee. And that is true stewardship. And that, to my mind, is real leadership. And leadership also needs to be lateral thinking.
Okay. A song or a piece of music that instantly lifts your mood.
An old Kishore Kumar song.
Ah, okay.
एक लड़की भीगी भागी सी.
Okay. Any reason why?
old associations, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
One change you'd like to see in India's education system?
I think we have to make our education system real, practical, forward focused. And by the way, I have to say our new education policy has done that. But our problem is that policy is written by central government. Implementation is by the states. It is still not taken place. If it does, it will be patchy. Unless we can create a GST type of an organization where all states are involved in implementing it, I think we will have a problem.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Leonardo da Vinci.
I was going to say Mahatma Gandhi, but oh no. Okay.
Leonardo da Vinci has been the most unusual character through history. A person who was a scientist, an artist, a thinker, an inventor, a surgeon, a philosopher.
Yeah, yeah.
So very, very few,
Very few
of that ilk.
That's nice. Very refreshing to know. Except your cell phone, one thing you never leave home without.
I guess my digital devices nowadays.
Yeah, except your cell phone.
Oh, except
Anything
cell
else?
phone, you
Yeah,
said?
yeah. Anything else?
I thought you said except yourself.
No, cell phone, cell phone.
My pen, because I like to make notes. So I don't make notes on my digital diary. I actually make them physically.
Yeah.
And so my pen is always with me.
Great. Okay, finish this sentence. Success to me is
to be able to say yes or no, to be able to make choices. And success is about earning trust. At one point in time, it was about building scale. Today, that's no longer a question because that's something we've figured out how to do. So it's a lot more about impact, about creating a positive impact in society.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much for your candor,
Thank
your
you.
warmth, your wisdom. Thank you so much for taking time and having me coming on my show and giving us this amazing insight on your history, your business, your books. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
good luck to you.
Yes.
You're starting off as a new entrepreneur. So
I know.
good luck. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right.